right, hello, folks. And today we are going to discuss the topic of what kind of witnesses do you need to testify for $1 million case? Welcome to another segment of Live with Mitch, brought to you by Proner & Proner, a law firm with a global presence and expertise that feels local and personal. I'm your host, Mel Maguia. And today we sit down with the expert himself, Mitch Proner, a personal injury attorney with over 30 years of experience, here to answer your questions and share insights you'll find useful in the personal injury world. And remember, all consultations are free and confidential. Reach us at any time at 1-800-321-1234. How are you doing, Mitch?
Doing well. In the midst of preparing for a trial, which is always a exciting and scary prospect, but
Right.
it's what I do.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, so let's get right to it. So, like, what kind of witnesses do you really need to testify for a $1 million case?
So the case I'm actually preparing for trial is a multi-million-dollar case. We've
Oh,
already
okay.
turned down well over $1 million.
Wow.
And that's always my client's decision.
Right.
If the client wants to settle for the offer on the table, the case is over. If they want to continue, I'm ready to go ahead. Every offer I present to the client. Typically, we try to get as much money as early as possible. And if the settlement is on favorable terms, my client settles. And I will advise them, but the decision is theirs. So my client has the courage to go ahead to trial, and I'm preparing accordingly. So for a typical case, you might have numerous experts.
Right.
Typically, that would include any surgeons, if there are surgeries involved. Sometimes there are no surgeries, but the injuries are severe nonetheless and life-changing. You don't want $1 million case, because $1 million case typically comes with $1 million injuries.
Ah.
And those aren't injuries like, I broke a rib and it really bothered me for 6 weeks and then I was okay. A broken rib is not going to be a multi-million-dollar case. So in the case that I'm working on, we have a shoulder surgeon, a back surgeon, and we've got 2 brain injury experts. The brain injury experts are a certified, board certified neurologist who's board certified in brain injury treatment, which not every neurologist is. And we also have a neuroradiologist who's looking at a special type of MRI called MRI with DTI.
Okay.
So MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging, and DTI is diffuse tensor imaging. So it's a sophisticated study that shows structures within the brain that normal MRIs don't show. Now, with every case, we put on experts and the other side puts on experts. They just served me today with an expert that says, no, diffuse tensor imaging is not routinely accepted. But he's using old data. They're experts using old data because the type of imaging, amica processing, has been approved by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. So it is accepted. And a lot of times you have to stay on top of the science, not just as a doctor, but as a lawyer, to prove these cases. And that's always exciting and changing because medicine's changing. So for instance, when I first started practicing, they didn't have MRIs. They only had x-rays.
Right.
Somebody hurt their knee, they took an x-ray. You know what I mean? Broke, and that was it. They couldn't go further. Then they had MRIs where all of a sudden you could see, oh, he's got a torn meniscus. He's got a torn ACL. But that happened with MRIs. And doctors had to learn to use them. And the medicine changes. And now we're doing robotic surgeries, minimally invasive surgeries, where it used to be you had to do a big incision.
Right.
So everything's changing. But the experts stay the same, the orthopedist, the neurologist. And then on top of that, if somebody has permanent injuries, you might get another doctor that does a life care plan. Nurses also do them. And they can put together, but it has to be based on medicine, and they have to talk to doctors. The nurse can't do it on their own. And they have to go through the medical records and the treatment and take the history, and they could come up with a plan for medical needs for the future. Because in a personal injury lawsuit, you're looking at not just past medical expenses, but future damages if the injury has permanency. If there's no permanency and you're all better, it's probably difficult to get a multi-million-dollar case.
Right.
But with permanency, you might need ongoing treatment and you could have a life care plan. And then on top of that, you typically might want an economist.
Mhm.
And the economist can take a look at the lost earnings and the healthcare needs from the life care plan and use commonly accepted inflation factors to talk about what the future of these numbers are. So you might have several doctors. Like the case that I've got, we've got two surgeons, one for the back, one for the shoulder. We've got a brain injury doctor, a neuroradiologist that looks at brain injury studies from a diagnostic standpoint. A radiologist is somebody that looks at x-rays, MRIs, and different types of imaging. That's what a radiologist does. A neuroradiologist is certified to do that on the brain. And then an economist and a life care planner. Sometimes, many cases, liability needed to be proven with an accident reconstructionist. There are typically two types of accident reconstructionists. There are accident reconstructionists that have backgrounds in law enforcement,
Ah.
where different law enforcement agencies like the New York City Police Department, the New York State Police, they have people that study accident reconstruction, and they might even have gone to a program. Northwest University has a big program where they go for 6 weeks and they learn about accident reconstruction. And after an accident, they know how to take data points, where the collision was based on debris, where the vehicles were at rest. They take measurements, they take the width of the roadway, the length of the, and different measurements. And based on those measurements, they could plug them into sophisticated computer programs and come out with the vehicle speed before impact or post impact. And that's done through accident reconstruction. And these law enforcement, they say, oh, I did 3,000 reconstructions for the New York State Police and got my certification through NYSTAR and ACTAR and the different agencies that certify accident reconstructionists. And then they go into private practice and they testify on personal injury cases. Another type of accident reconstructionist is the engineer who didn't go through law enforcement, but went through engineering school.
Okay.
Became a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer, got their PhD. They studied engineering. They know how to do the accident reconstruction from their engineering background, and they also understand the math behind how these computer programs work. Additionally, these engineers might be able to download the information from vehicle data recorders. And those downloads could tell you a lot of information that you can't get without downloading these computer programs.
Right.
Most vehicles nowadays, they're recording more information than just how fast you're going when you're driving.
Hmm.
And if there's an immediate stop, that information is recorded. So those are the different types of experts you need. Accident reconstructionists on liability. You might need an OSHA expert on a construction case. Your orthopedist, your neurologist, your treating physicians, your surgeons, life care plan MD, or a nurse if that's the way the lawyer's going. Um, and there are nurse practitioners certified in life care planning. I happen to use a doctor, but that's my preference. And then uh, an economist. And those are the typical experts that go into a multi-million-dollar case.
Wow.
And here I've had the fortune of the honor of working on these cases repeatedly. I think we've had multiple multi-million-dollar cases every year for the last 30 years. I'm pretty sure of it. I'd say positive. And it's challenging, and um, naturally, I'm happy when I'm successful for my clients.
There you go. Well, you know what, Mitch? One thing that just dawned on me, and correct me if I'm wrong, all of these experts you mentioned are actually witnesses. Because in my mind, as you know, I'm not an
That's
expert
right.
like you.
That's right. 100% right.
So all of these, because like the misconception is a witness, oh, this person saw this, or my family member was in the car. So that's very useful information. So yeah, I had no idea that could include that. So thank you for that. Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from the expert himself, Mitch Proner. That wraps it up for now. Thank you for taking the time to tune in, whether it's on our podcasts, video broadcasts. We really do appreciate it. And remember, you can reach us 24/7 at 1-800-321-1234, where all consultations are free and confidential. And if you haven't yet, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, share, and please subscribe to get the latest updates. Now, before we go, Mitch, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Just be safe and be healthy, and hopefully you don't need a lawyer getting these experts for you. But
Yeah.
if you have an injury that requires this type of case, and you deserve millions of dollars, you should have a lawyer ready to get these experts.
There you go. Well, thank you again, Mitch, for another informative session. And thank you all for checking us out. I know I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. We'll see you next time. Thank you again, Mitch.
Thank you, Mel. Be well.